Hey guys, what's up? Today I want to talk to you about a cult classic that I've actually never seen before. This movie is coming to us from the beautiful Down Under, Australia, in one of my favorite decades of horror, the early 2000s. Now, to give you some context about the world in which this movie was born, the 2000s was a time full of angst and anger and hurt because 9/11 rocked America and bred this pervasive feeling of paranoia, fear of the other. Terrorism was a huge concern for many Americans. And of course, we had the financial recession of 2008 looming off in the distance. So many Americans and people around the world were full of anger and angst and hurt. And that was very much reflected in the horror films that came out in the 2000s. These are films like the Amityville Horror remake, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, The Descent, 30 Days of Night, House of a Thousand Corpses, and of course, my favorite, Martyrs, Inside, and High Tension. The films of the 2000s were incredibly brutal, very mean-spirited, very bloody, and unapologetic. I am talking about 2004's Wolf Creek, directed by Greg McLean. Wolf Creek is a cult classic in horror circles. There's a lot of people who are big fans of it, and for whatever reason, I was just late to that train, but I watched it and I can totally see why people are in love with it. So Wolf Creek follows three friends. They are essentially backpacking through the Australian outback. They are going to see a crater of sorts that's believed to have some ties to alien activity. And the setting is unnerving in and of itself in that it is incredibly isolated and desolate. There is nowhere to run and no one to run to, and that is really what makes Wolf Creek stand out for me. Is they just really nailed the atmosphere of the film, and I can put myself in the shoes of the characters, and even without anyone crazy chasing me, I would be absolutely terrified. One of the common criticisms about Wolf Creek is that it's slow, or it starts slow. But you have to understand that this is a foreign film. A lot of foreign films spend an ample amount of time getting to know the characters, so you care for the characters and you care what happens to them. And Wolf Creek definitely does that. Insofar as the first hour of the film is really spent just kind of hanging out with the characters and getting to know their chemistry. And there isn't really anything especially scary that happens. So that might be a turnoff for some people, but if you do stick around until the third act, the payoff is so glorious. John Jarrett playing Mick is just an instant horror hero, in my opinion. He can stand right up there with Freddy Krueger and Jason because he is so fully realized and so fleshed out, and I feel like the filmmakers had such a great, strong idea of who he was as a character, and that just really anchors the film and makes it all the more effective. When watching Wolf Creek, I felt as if it was a higher stakes joyride. It's an American film that has a similar premise. Three friends are out in the desert in the middle of nowhere. They're on a road trip of sorts, and they play a mean trick on a lonely trucker, and that's the worst decision that they ever made because the trucker turns out to be crazy and he stalks them and tries to kill them. I love that movie. I love the premise. I love the antagonist, and I felt like Wolf Creek hit all of those same notes that I loved from Joyride and then just turned them up to 11. It really upped the ante. The antagonist in Wolf Creek is even more brutal and scary than the one that you saw in Joyride, and the gore and the body effects are just really out of this world crazy. So if you're a fan of really intense bloody movies like Hostel, you'll probably really like Wolf Creek because it's very much in that same vein. It's of the same era, and it expresses the same anxieties and fears that films like Hostel did. There is a sequel to Wolf Creek 2, and there is a TV show also called Wolf Creek that I think is available on Shudder right now. I haven't seen the sequel or the TV show, but I've heard good things about them, so I definitely will be checking those out, and I might make a separate video for those in the coming weeks. It's also been reported by Bloody Disgusting that John Jarrett, who plays Mick, announced that a third film and a third season of Wolf Creek, the TV show, are in development but are currently delayed because of COVID. So if you are a fan of this world and the character Mick, then there's a lot more in the works, which is really exciting. So guys, if you like this review, please give me a thumbs up. I am new to this channel. I started it because I really don't have a lot of people around me to talk to horror about. So I thought, hey, why not talk to the internet about it? So if you want to be on this ride with me, give me a thumbs up and a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Also, let me know in the comments down below if you've seen Wolf Creek. Let me know what you thought about it. And if you have any suggestions about movies that I should check out that are like this, or movies that you want me to talk about, let me know that too. And I can definitely get started on that. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video.